Hey, what's up, everybody? So coming to you today with the weekend preview, and we got some couple big fights to talk about. Well, big fighters to talk about. One big fight. Couple different cards. There's actually a Showtime card on Saturday that I'm not really going to get into because really the only one that I'm interested in that I think is worth talking about, because the whole card got shifted up a couple times, and now Nonito Donaire, who's the biggest star on the card, got corona and is off the card as well. So disappointing turn of events. But the undercard fight on that is going to be really good. You got Jaron Ennis taking on Chris Van Eerden on Saturday. Jaron Ennis is a beast. I want to say he's 26-0, 24 knockouts. That dude is an absolute beast. Do not miss him fight. He's going to roll over the veteran Van Eerden. Knockout for sure. Jaron Ennis moving up the ladder at welterweight, undefeated. So that he's a future star right there. I like him a lot. But let's get into the other cards. So Friday night on DAZN, you got Triple G returning in the main event. We'll talk about that. Go over the couple undercard fights that are worth talking about first off. You got a super middleweight showdown between two undefeated super middleweights on the rise right now. And the reason I'm bringing this up is neither guy's in my top 10, and a win is not going to get him in my top 10. But these guys are seasoned in terms of prospects on the rise. You got Ali Akhmedov against Carlos Gongora. Akhmedov is 16-0 with 12 knockouts, and Gongora is 18-0 with 13 knockouts. You're starting to see in boxing a lot more of fights like this where guys are kind of prospects trying to take that next step by instead of moving up the chain the old-fashioned way where you take on contenders and all that kind of stuff. They're fighting each other, which is rare, but Daniel Dubois and Joe Joyce set a good trend of this, those two undefeated heavyweights that were on the rise when they fought a couple weeks ago. And now you're going to see this more and more. We've already have been seeing it more and more. But this is a good one right here, check it out. I think it's going to be a good action. Neither guy has fought anybody good. I don't know either guy. I'm going to go with Gongora. Just throwing it out there. I'm going with Gongora. Could end by knockout, could be a decision, but I think it's going to be a decent fight on Friday night, so check it out. I don't know if it's the co-feature, but the co-feature, I never heard of the two guys fighting in the co-feature. So, I'm a little more known fighters, but I'm very in-depth on some of those guys, on most of the known fighters in boxing. But prospects, not really my thing, kind of. I'll start noticing the guy once they fight stepping stone guys that are decent or guys that have fought champions along those lines. But, you got, what's his name? John Ryder's returning. He is a former world title challenger. He actually fought Callum Smith, who's fighting in the main event this weekend. That was his last fight in November of last year. And John Ryder, I believe, is my number 9 super middleweight right now. He is trying to move up the ladder back into world title contention. He's actually got a world title fight lined up in his next fight. He's going to take on Fedor Shudanov, who's a former champion. He's going to fight him in his next fight if he gets past Mike Guy, some unknown guy. Ryder should blow this guy out of the water, but the significance in this fight is big because Ryder gets his first title shot, and he's actually going to fight for the WBA regular title, which is a secondary belt to the winner of Canelo and Callum Smith. And actually, Canelo is still technically the regular champion. He's fighting the super champion, Callum Smith, so they're leaving the regular belt's going to go vacant after the real super champion is crowned. I know this is all stupid and confusing, but this is the way it's done. And then they're going to move on, and Ryder's going to fight for that secondary title next, which he kind of deserves. I'm not saying he beat Callum Smith last year. It was a close fight, but the scorecards were terrible. One of the most controversial fights of the year because the scorecards had Callum Smith winning 9-10 rounds, and that fight was too close for that. It could have been 7-5. Either way, it could have been a draw, but it was definitely not 9 rounds for either guy. And Callum Smith walked away with a bullshit decision last year. And John Ryder deserves something for that performance that he put on last year, and he's getting it. So I'm happy about that. But I got John Ryder blowing my guy away, knockout, onto the main event. Triple G against Ziramita or something. Guy's undefeated, 21-0, but only 5 knockouts. Never fought anybody good. How he became the number one contender and mandatory is beyond me. But he's fighting Triple G, who's returning for his first time in 14 months since he almost lost to Sergey Derevyanchenko in a vacant title fight for the IBF belt. Triple G won the belt in a very close decision that really could have went either way. He started getting beat up in the later rounds, scored a knockdown in the earlier rounds, but Triple G, we know how good Triple G is, and he's 38, but don't let his age fool you. Triple G is still a live dog right here, and he's still very, very good. Remember, it was just 2 short years ago that he fought in the fight of the year against Canelo, who's your pound-for-pound king. Derevyanchenko, he was overlooking Derevyanchenko, expecting to blow him away. He wasn't expecting that much of a dogfight. Triple G is still a very live dog, still very good, still one of the top 10 pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and I believe he's going to blow Ziramita away, but it's going to be nice to see him back and building up towards other things. So that card, Friday, DAZN. Now, Saturday on DAZN, you got a big, the pound-for-pound king returns. Canelo Alvarez taking on Callum Smith. I'm only going to talk about the main event in this one because really it's a bunch of very young prospects on the undercard. Guys that are 10-0, 8 knockouts is Diego Pacheco on the undercard. These guys are fighting nobodies. They're not well known. I'm not going to bother wasting my time talking about it. I know we kind of got into it a little bit on my podcast, so go check that out if you want. It's towards the end of it. But, you got Canelo and Callum Smith. Great matchup right here. Canelo's trying to stay pound-for-pound king by fighting one of the best the best in the division, Callum Smith, besides Canelo. Canelo's trying to make himself a full super middleweight now. He hasn't fought since he knocked out Sergey Kovalev in November of last year. Callum Smith hasn't fought since he got that controversial unanimous decision over John Ryder last year. So this truly is to determine the number one fighter at 168. Canelo trying to hold on to his pound-for-pound status. And I think he's going to do it in this one. It's going to be a good one, though. Smith is 7 inches taller and got that way longer reach. He can box. He's got some pop. But Canelo, an iron chin, and just so talented, so confident. In his, last 3 fights, Triple G, Daniel Jacobs, and Kovalev, he just looks like he's very comfortable. He's hit his groove, and he looks very confident. I don't think he would have chosen Callum Smith if he wasn't fully confident that he's going to beat him. I got Canelo winning by a decision. I think he could break down Callum Smith's body and stop him in the late rounds, but I think Callum's going to make it to the final bell. I think we got a unanimous decision in this one. It could be close, though. Could be a close fight. Callum Smith could pull off the upset. I'm not saying it's a complete wash for Canelo. I don't think it's going to be. I think it will be somewhat competitive, but maybe much to the same that Danny Jacobs and Canelo was competitive. I think Canelo's just going to break him down and just be the better guy and the more talented fighter, and I think Canelo gets a decision here. So, Friday night, DAZN. Saturday, you got a Showtime card. Jaron Ennis on the co-feature. You don't want to miss that. There is other fights on that card, but for me, they're not worth talking about. And then you got Canelo and Callum Smith on Saturday on DAZN. That's going to be good. Check it out. That's the weekly preview. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.